Hey, what's up, y'all? Happy Independence Day. Just want to let you know that Yard Mastery has extended the biggest sale of the year through tomorrow, July 5th. Fertilizers, biostimulants, grass seed, a whole lot more. Biggest sale of the year, extended through July 5th. So if you get here early enough, click the link in the description below or visit yardmastery.com. So for sure you've seen and heard all the hype around this thing. The lawn tools posted on TikTok and get 10 bazillion views and everybody wants a piece. I do too, if that's okay. So straight up front, and remember I talk almost only to DIYers, this is not a one-to-one or direct replacement for a string trimmer. Not even close. However, I will make a good case in this video for why it is a great replacement for a bladed stick edger, and then I'll also give you a couple other use cases for this that are specialty, but that I think are worth it, and they definitely are worth it for me. So the way to think about this is maybe like a barber, has different tools for different purposes. You really only need a couple of basics like I've had for years to get the job done and done just fine. But then you add something like this on and you find out that, man, I almost can't live without this anymore.
And I don't even mow low, bro.
Now, a quick note here. The cost of the unit for me was $297 just for the rotary scissors alone on Amazon. Now, I already had a power head unit from Ego, but I did have to buy an additional attachment for $129, for which I sacrificed the string trimmer head itself and attached then the rotary scissors onto the shaft. It's a pretty simple conversion to make, but those two things right there, the cost and the fact that you have to use hand tools to get this together, will be a deal breaker for about 90% of the people watching.
So while I did say that the rotary scissors are not a one-for-one replacement for a string trimmer, there are some comparisons that I still want to make for you.
So the rotary scissors can trim grass much like a string trimmer, not a problem there. However, the drawback there is that a string trimmer actually rips the pieces to bits, so there's not a lot of cleanup after. Whereas the rotary scissors actually lay down the grass in rows, so you do have to go back and clean it up with your mower or by blowing it. That's actually kind of annoying, so that's why this doesn't exactly replace a string trimmer.
So there is one place where the rotary scissors excel against a string trimmer, and that is grass that runs right directly up to the base of a tree. With a string trimmer, you're gonna nick the tree no matter what you do, because you can't really see the outline or the edges of where the string actually is. And even with those of you with good eyes that can, it's unforgiving with even the slightest tap. Now with the rotary scissors, if you do go and jam them up in there, yeah, they're gonna make nicks. But because it's a more controlled spin, you can actually see the outside of the disc, and you can tiptoe or creep your way right up to the edge and make fine precision cuts without harming the tree at all. Next, let's compare it against a bladed edger, especially along like curbs and gutters.
So y'all know down here in Florida, we have thick stoloniferous grass, and a bladed stick edger is the preferred way to rip through that, especially around curbs, driveways, sidewalks. Thing is, for curbs, the rotary scissors do just as good a job in maintaining the edges. In fact, the debris kicked out is much less compared to the stick edger, and with the rotary scissors, you can choose to go in both directions, whereas with the bladed stick edger, you can really only walk forward.
There's another question that comes up often too when it comes to edging around like brick pavers like this. What's the best way to do that, string or bladed edger? And I can show you here, this is where the rotary scissors actually excel over both. Okay, so here is the bladed edger on pavers. Now, does a great job. I mean, look, let me just get back. It's a nice edge. You can't say anything bad about that. But you get in close and you'll see it's a little jagged in a couple spots here and there. Some people do have a challenge with getting this blade to lock in right along that paver edge right there. And some people are afraid they're gonna nick it. You can see I've been using that there for a long time and I don't have any chips out of these. Nothing, right? So you can learn to do it, but I will tell you, this is a little bit of a challenge. It's kind of hard to hold it in there. Whereas the rotary scissors, they get in there and they go zoom, and they just kind of lock on. What happens is this lip right here, right, is riding. You can see it's even being worn. See that? That right there? That's like riding on top of the pavers, and so that allows these nice blades to go down in there. And so the result you get is a pretty tight cut. Can you see that? I don't know if it's coming across on camera, but I can see it here. It's much tighter. Probably from far back, both edges look about the same. None is perfect. They both have some stragglers here and there. But this one just definitely locks in more. I can definitely feel it when I'm doing the edging, and it makes it easier to do.
Now there is one drawback though, and that is that the angle of the rotary scissors means you have to kind of stand out to the side, so not as compact of a movement overall. And that can also mean it's tough to keep the scissors perpendicular if you're trying to get your edge completely straight up and down 90 degrees to the ground. You know what I'm saying, Overbiter?
And so that brings me to one of the things that I do actually like most about this, and that is the ability that it gives you to round or sculpt your edges. So this here is my thick, beautiful St. Augustine grass, and that big tall shelf you see in the front there that you all think is nothing more than thatch buildup. For me, that's my opportunity for edge domination, and you can see I usually keep them tall and square. These need a little bit of a trim here. But sometimes it's kind of cool to round them off and change things up a bit just to keep people on their toes in case they're trying to catch up to your domination. Okay, now there are actually two places where the rotary scissors excel and beat string trimmer and edger. But before I give you those two, would you mind hitting that like button for me? It really helps. Leave me a comment too, really appreciate that. So what are those two areas I was talking about? Well, they are super thick overgrown edges and blacktop edges.
The Freedom Factory has no shortage of edges, especially thick overgrown edges, and when some barriers were recently removed, I got to hit an area that had been overgrown for more than a month. Usually I'd have to ram my bladed stick edger through here several times to get the edge cleaned up, but the rotary scissors make it easy because they slice through rather than ripping through, giving you a clean edge with just one pass plus a little bit of cleanup after. So for overgrown edges with thick St. Augustine stolons over by there, the rotary scissors are a much better solution. And then there's blacktop edges. Any of you that have to deal with this know that blacktop is jagged, and so it's really tough to get a good edge. So what you really have to do is overgrow your grass several inches across the blacktop and then create your own edge from there. I've been managing this at the Freedom Factory as good as possible with a string trimmer, but I've actually found that the rotary scissors make it a whole lot easier. Let me show you.
Okay, there we go. Now we're getting there. Here. Okay, now we're getting closer. That's much better. I didn't want to take that big chunk out of there, but you can see blacktop, right? I still have, come on girl, let me in. Man, she's tight. Well, I mean, I think the blacktop even goes back to there. She's too tight to let me under there, but.
You can see an example of it here where I've trained the St. Augustine to grow out a good 4 to 5 inches across the blacktop. Now I don't have to rely on the natural jagged edge, I can create my own, and you can see it looks pretty good. It takes a long time to train the grass like this, especially at somewhere as large as an 1/8 mile racetrack.
I mean, look at that, that's cool, huh? That's been training like that for a long time. Gorgeous blacktop edge, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Dang. That's what makes this so sad over here. Because I had that similar, not that tight, because I was doing it with a string trimmer, but still, I had that 4 or 5 inches of leeway, you know? And here you can even see, look at my roots in here. Look at them. Into the blacktop. That's my St. Aug, baby. That's my Sylvester Stolons in the blacktop. Look at these roots here. Look at that. They topped us. It's crazy, man. It's like Fangorn Forest or something going on in here. I mean, y'all call yourselves clutch kickers. Y'all might want to spend a little more time on the brakes and steering next time. You know what I'm saying, fellas? All right, y'all, there you go. Hope this video has been helpful to you. Hope you have a great rest of your Independence Day weekend, and I'll see you in the lawn.